So Blake Lively does not want to be deposed by attorney Bryan Freedman. Yeah, that's shocking, right? Neither would I. Neither would I. Basically, you're going up against the legal equivalent of the Terminator. But look, this is part of the legal and PR and psychological pain that comes your way when you do what Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have attempted to do to Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer and a bunch of people, or what Amber Heard, for instance, attempted to do to Johnny Depp. This is what you open yourself up for. And these people like Blake, they don't think at the beginning, because they're just so full of their own anger or outrage, or if some people are to be believed, marital drama, or they're having issues with their jealous husband, or whatever the case turns out to be. Many people have speculated on it. Let me straighten up my setup. Many people have speculated on it, but whatever it is, it got Blake Lively into such an irrational decision-making state, she and Ryan Reynolds, that they thought that this was a good idea to open the can of worms that they have opened. And now, like, again, let's let the dogs of war. Once you do that, you do not know where those dogs are going or if they're going to come back to bite you. And that seems to be what's going on here. And so, yeah, you don't want to be deposed by Bryan Freedman, Blake Lively. And unfortunately for you, this is just one tiny part of a whole lot of pain that's coming your way in the upcoming months and I think years because of what you've done. And that's why I keep saying, stop escalating it, de-escalate, get out, apologize. But I know you're not going to do that. But yeah, it is intense, and that's why it is so still shocking to me and so many people that this is the course that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds elected to take when they absolutely did not have to or need to. And whether they were doing it to get movie rights for Colleen Hoover books, as I know that recently Candace Owens was speculating, and then for a month or so, some others like Ari Jacob have been discussing whether it was for that reason or it was due to the fury of a woman in some way scorned, or jealousy by Ryan Reynolds, or whatever, or just genuine narcissistic, ego-based, artistic differences, or probably a perfect storm of all of these. Whatever the motivation was, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds were so out of their minds with irrationality on this to think that this was a good idea, especially with all of the crazy stuff that it sounds like Blake Lively was doing behind the scenes. And yes, maybe also it seems Taylor Swift. This is the thing that I am interested in as far as the Taylor Swift situation, or her relationship to all of this. I didn't think that there was anything that could really damage Taylor Swift's brand PR-wise. I mean, I know that I've thought she's annoying as hell for a while now, and there are others like me, but in general, it just seemed like she had an absolutely unshakable PR brand, Taylor Swift. And what I'll say about these little nuggets in Justin Baldoni's lawsuit, referring to her not explicitly, but referring to her, and some of the things that people have been saying, speculating online about, and pointing to with the rumors of the firing of the composer due to Taylor Swift's personal animosity toward him, and perhaps extensive role that some people say she might have had in this Baldoni mess and plotting behind the scenes or whatever. But I am really interested. I mean, okay, that's interesting and going to be paying attention to it, but I'm actually more interested to see, are there some seeds in here that are going to, some weeds in here that are going to really sprout and are going to cause her eventually some significant PR damage? And Taylor Swift behind the scenes, y'all, she has to be hoping that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds come to their senses and try to settle this shit immediately as fast as possible, because Taylor Swift does not want the kind of coverage that she's been getting from a bunch of people, and Owens recently, most notably. She does not want that. And the longer this thing goes on, if there's more that comes out about her, and if through these court proceedings and legal proceedings, it does come out, evidence does come out that she played a significant role in this whole mess, or did get a composer fired basically on some kind of personal whim or whatever, like, this stuff, the way that people react to it and the interest that people have in it, and the fact that there are some dogged personalities online that are clearly going after these angles, man, this could actually do some damage to her brand in a really, like, as she would think of it, I think, gross, stupid, tabloidy, like a joke manner, right? She doesn't want to be a joke. And this has potential. It does have potential. I don't know. Which brings me then to this question of the Super Bowl. Because as you all know, is it last year, there were all of these videos all over the internet after the Super Bowl, during and after the Super Bowl, of Blake Lively and Taylor Swift, best friends, next to each other, watching from the VIP box, jumping up and down and all of that. Blake Lively and all of her, like, you know, clunky jewelry and stuff, whatever. That's her style, whatever. But thick as thieves, right? This is her bestie. And they both advertise this in every way possible. And certainly at this Super Bowl, last year's Super Bowl. So I just assumed there was no way in hell, and I still think there's no way in hell, that Taylor Swift wants Blake Lively to be there. But there was this anonymously sourced series of articles that I saw yesterday and today affirming that, yes, of course, Taylor does want Blake Lively to be there. She does want her bestie to be there, and she has been invited. And so this is my question. I think obviously the last thing that Taylor Swift wants is for Blake Lively to be there. First of all, can you imagine if on some crazy off chance that actually happens? And I just think that hell will freeze over before Blake Lively shows up or is allowed next to Taylor Swift or whatever. But if some crazy parallel universe, if that happens, the online social media explosion from that, and the intense scrutiny and the jokes that will be made, and the way that will outrage people who already see this link, this very firm link between the bullshit that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds pulled and Taylor Swift's supposed collusion. And I mean, this will just be an accelerant like nothing we can imagine. I'm being dramatic. This will be an extreme accelerant. If it will be an extreme accelerant to this, if Blake Lively is in the VIP box or next to, God forbid, next to Taylor Swift. So there's no way in hell Taylor Swift wants that. But here's the thing. Taylor Swift also wants to be seen as like a stand-up pal, right? And I just wonder who is leaking this story that, no, in fact, Taylor Swift has invited Blake Lively. Is it Blake Lively's camp leaking this, wanting people to think, no, everything is cool with him? Or is this Taylor Swift kind of trying to balance what her sources leaked to the Daily Mail the other day about, oh, Taylor's taking a step back and all of that. But then you see these news sources saying, oh, but she did invite her to the Super Bowl. You know, that offer is still on. And so she's kind of trying, I think, to balance her image, right? If these sourcings are coming from her camp. So the question for me, or the balancing act, I guess, that I see here, is that she doesn't want to be seen as this like guilty, well, I am guilty of what they're saying, this guilty party who's like running away from this, or who's abandoning her friend, or who's flighty and won't be there for her, a fair weather friend, exactly, right? But on the other hand, like, she cannot have Blake Lively next to her in that fucking box. She just can't. Oh my gosh. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how things play out. But yeah, everybody, check out my work. Check out my Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni playlist. And then I'm going to be getting back into, in my next several videos, some other topics and things. But we'll continue to cover this a lot. All right, check out links below. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.